Today I'll be reviewing a 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning, and I can tell you right off the bat, this is the best truck I've ever tested, and it's not even close. This Ford Lightning is so amazing in so many ways. If you want speed, you got it. This is the fastest full-size truck you could buy today. You want utility, you got it. It's a full-size F-150. Everything an F-150 can do, this Lightning can do as well. You want a great drive? You got it. This Lightning drives as good as any Tesla on the road today. And trust me, I've tested all of them. And if you want a very comfortable drive, you got it. This Lightning feels as comfortable and as quiet as a $400,000 Bentley. This Lightning is all of these things combined. That's how good this truck is. So let's get started. Let me tell you more about it. All right, I'm on the road, so let me tell you more about this brand new F-150 Lightning and tell you about how it drives. First of all, you guys already know, because I already told you, this is the most impressive truck I've ever tested. And I've tested a lot of trucks, including the Ram TRX, including the Raptor, all the TRDs, everything out there. This is the most impressive by far. First of all, this is a F-150 at heart. Okay, so it's a big full-size truck, same shape overall. If you're looking at the side view, it looks exactly the same. So front end is different because the big grille has been replaced with a big plastic piece. Now, if that was not plastic, it would be better. If there was grills you could configure, right, to make it look more masculine, like a more aggressive one, like a Raptor one, I think that would be awesome. I'm sure the aftermarket will provide other grills, but you get a big plastic one, and that's because you don't need airflow through it. It's just a solid piece. The headlights are a little bit different because you have this huge strip of daytime running light that stretches from one side to the other side, but the hood and everything else, you know, pretty much looks the same. Now the tailgate also looks different because you have that kind of the same design where the taillight stretches from one side to the other, so it stretches across the tailgate, looks different. You also have some backup lights on the tailgate too. That's different. I haven't seen that with any other tailgate out there, so Ford decided that was important, so they added that. You got a big bed back there with the Lightning. You have a 5.5-foot bed, and this one has spray liner inside, so you don't have to worry about dents, scratches. Another good thing about this Lariat that I'm testing, well, you get a power tailgate. Most power tailgates I've seen just go one way, meaning it just opens and goes down, and that's it. This one goes up too, so it's very convenient. If you have your hands full, right, you can just use your key fob and close it. The biggest power feature that I'm excited to talk about is, of course, the power frunk. And Ford made a big splash with this, right? Because it makes sense. With an EV truck, you don't need all that space under the hood. So what Ford did was convert it into a massive frunk. And you know, with frunks, usually you hear a lot about it with Teslas, because Teslas do have a pretty sizable frunk up front. And other EV manufacturers seem to have a difficult time replicating it, but this one's just massive. It's a full-size trunk up front, right? Not only that, you have a lot of utility too. You have a net in the back. You can see the cover that's hiding some hidden storage. That cover also can be used to measure things. You can put your drinks there. That cover also supports up to 400 pounds. That's right. You can put 400 pounds in the front. Not only that, you get a lot of plugs because the F-150 Lightning is basically a big generator. You could use it as a generator, and you could plug all your power tools up front and in the rear too. In fact, on the outside, there's 9 outlets, including a 240 that's in the back. The frunk is amazing. You have a dedicated button to turn on the LED lights inside in case you working at night, you are having a tailgate party, whatever. Also, there's a button on the inside in case you somehow fall asleep, you pass out, you get covered under the frunk, you can open it, right? No problems. And there's a dedicated button to actually close it, not the emergency one. So there's actually 2 buttons in there that's meant to open it. So the frunk is really amazing. It's a game changer as far as trucks go, because most full-size trucks do not have anywhere to put normal things like groceries, right? Now, next, let me talk about the drive, because the drive is amazing. Amazing. This is a full-size truck. So when you get in, if you're on the shorter side, you go have to utilize the side step. With this Lariat, unfortunately, you don't get power steps, but that's okay. As long as you get something, you get in and out pretty easy. Once you get inside, you're sitting so high, you have such a good commanding view, and most people love it. Everyone that has, driven a full-size truck will tell you, yeah, I love the view, right? And it's no different with this Ford Lightning. But what makes this drive even better is how comfortable it is on the road. And I mean comfortable. $400,000 Bentley comfortable. That's how comfortable it is. Obviously, there's a large battery pack, so it's on the floor. So the center of gravity is quite low. So actually it makes the dynamics of this truck better than F-150, meaning if you're turning, right, hard corners and bends, you feel more planted. So there's that. And also the suspension, Ford beefed up because of additional weight. They made it so that it's just so good at soaking up the bumps. I haven't driven any other EV truck that feels like this outside a Tesla. And a Tesla does not feel anywhere as comfortable as this. Now, I did also mention about the steering. Ford tweaked it so that this steering feels more like a steering from an EV car. It's so precise, it has a great weight to it, and the steering wheel itself is phenomenal. Love the cushion, the thickness, it just feels good in your hand. Now the overall look, the design is still very truckish. The buttons are very big, not very stylish, but you get it. There's buttons for your volume and your menu and stuff like that, but the steering wheel itself feels great. Makes you feel like a man when you're driving this. But the steering feel has been improved vastly, along with the vehicle driving dynamics, and with this great comfortable drive, it's phenomenal. And what else is phenomenal is how quiet it is in here. Obviously no engine, no exhaust, some of you guys will miss that, but the insulation in here is amazing, amazing. It's way better than any Tesla out there, I'll tell you that right off the bat. I have an X Plaid, I had a S Plaid, I had a Y, and I have driven a 3. So I have driven every single Tesla out there, and this, I'll tell you, is quieter than all of them out there. Every single one. In fact, I would argue this is probably the quietest car I've ever driven, including all the Lexuses and BMWs and Volvos and all the luxury cars. This is so quiet. Now, what about utility? Well, this is an F-150, right? So you got a full-size truck. The towing capacity is around 10,000 pounds, so a little bit lower than a gas-powered F-150, but 10,000 is still plenty, but only if you choose the extended battery pack. So keep that in mind. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that because there is an additional charge for it. So the Pro Power onboard is what Ford calls, the generator and the battery setup. With it, you can power all of your power tools. Up front, I mentioned about all those outlets. You can power up to 2,400 watts. In the bed, you get more outlets, a lot more outlets, and you can power 3,600 watts. And let's not forget the 2 outlets inside the cabin too, right? So you can pretty much power everything. And if that wasn't enough, and let's say you're in a pinch and you're working on a job site or your house loses electricity, you could actually use your Lightning to power the site or the house. There's a feature for that where you could utilize this as just one gigantic generator. Can you do that with any other truck? I don't think so. So, I mean, from a utility aspect, it's quite amazing. Now, outside all the fancy EV stuff, right? The bed, this one is covered in bed liner, so that's great, but also you get that built-in step, so if you want to get in and out, that's still great too. You got tie downs in the back, right? Those are all great. I mean, whatever you're looking to do with the F-150, you could do with this Lightning. The utility has not been downgraded. In the second row, if you wanted more storage space, you get it. You could fold the seats up. The floor is flat. There's no bumps. That's fantastic. There's lockable storage underneath too. And when you fold it up, you can still fold the seat down and it just covers over it. So utility is still there, right? And everything else about this truck, it's the same, but it's good because you don't lose any utility factor with this Lightning. Now, other things I forgot to mention about utility are things that were added for this new generation. For example, inside the cabin, you could fold down the shifter and open up the table, so you could put your laptop there, or you could put your lunch, whatever you want to put there. So that's convenient. Also, on the tailgate, you have a measuring table, and you can actually C-clamp your 2x4s on there, right? So you also get that. That's new too. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff, a lot of utility with this Lightning. Whoa! What about speed? Well, this is a fast truck. In fact, all Lightnings have all-wheel drive, and even with it, I hear the tire squeal, and I wasn't from a dead stop. I was accelerating from like 25 to 60, and there's so much torque. This is a fast truck. This is the fastest full-size truck you can buy today. Think about that. As powerful as a Ram TRX is, and as powerful as the new F-150 Raptor R is, they don't beat this in acceleration. 0 to 60 comes in at 4 seconds with this. 4 seconds. Those other two I mentioned, about 4.5 seconds. And that's because you get 775 pound-feet of torque at your disposal instantly when you put your foot down. It doesn't matter if you choose the extended range or non-extended range, you're getting the same amount of torque. Now, as for power, if you choose the non-extended battery pack, you're still getting 453 horsepower, which is more than a regular Raptor. So think about that. If you do choose the extended battery pack, then you're getting 580 horsepower, almost 600. So this is a fast truck. Now, with the extended battery pack, besides just extra power, you also get more range. So the extended battery pack gives you up to 320 miles per charge. That's quite a lot with the XLT and with the Lariat. Now, the Platinum goes down to 300 because of the bigger wheels. But if you choose the standard, you're getting about 230 miles. Okay, so big difference. Now, as for charging, the Lightning, of course, can fast charge. And Ford states you could go from 15% to 80% in about 44 minutes, which is a little bit higher than the industry, a little bit higher than some of the other EVs I've tested, but it could be because the battery with this Lightning is much bigger. That could be the reason why. Now, in relation to this drive, there are a couple driving modes. You have normal, and then you have sport, off-road, and tow and haul. Obviously, towing is a big part of a truck, and you lose nothing with this Lightning other than a few thousand pounds. So 10,000 is the limit. If you don't have the extended battery pack, towing is limited to around 7,700, I believe, a little bit under 8,000, but you still get all the fancy stuff. So the new Pro Trailer system, which helps you back up to your trailer, you still get that. You also get a smart hitch feature, which is new. Unfortunately, I'm unable to test these things because I don't have a trailer, but it also kind of automates your truck so that you could get back to your trailer and be able to hitch it really easily. But as for other modes, off-road, you know, obviously it changes up the four-wheel drive system. You do have a locking differential too with this. You can actually turn that on. I was pretty amazed to see that with an EV car, truck, I should say. But with sport, it's supposed to make things more lively. But the only thing I noticed with sport is it turns on regenerative braking more. And that is something that you have to get used to with a EV car. Any EV car, most of them, you let go of the pedal, you know, the car comes to a stop very, very quickly. So with the Lightning in normal mode, you don't really sense that. Ford engineers really made it so that it's very hard to notice. But in sport mode, you'll notice it. As soon as you let go of the pedal, the truck comes to a stop really quickly, probably because it's trying to generate as much power as it can back. But also there's an additional setting called one pedal drive, which will basically really turn it to the max so that the Lightning will come to a stop really quickly after you let go of the pedal, and then you know, you don't really need to brake. That's the whole point of it. But outside of those things, your brakes on this Lightning feel great. Ford tweaked it so the brakes feel normal. feels normal and feels great. It has that good linear feel. It's not twitchy, it's not too stiff, it's not mushy. So the brakes actually feel quite fantastic. Now lastly, I haven't talked about technology, the features. I mean, with this Lariat, you pretty much get everything. As for screens, you get two large ones. You get a big 12-inch digital screen. Pretty standard these days, but the Ford one is pretty cool. You scroll through a lot of variety of menus that tell you about your Lightning, right? It's big and bright. Because of the Lightning, there is a dedicated side that tells you all about your range, right? How much you have left, whether or not you're in charging mode or you're accelerating. It has a lot of cool stuff. And you also, in this Lightning, you have another screen. It's just a giant screen. It's like a 16-inch screen that's vertically mounted. So this is different than a normal F-150 because the normal F-150 have a 12-inch horizontally mounted, which I actually like better. But this is the same one that you'll find in a Mach-E. So I think Ford decided this is just what they want to do with EVs. But it's a nice screen. It has a built-in volume knob right on the screen. That's unique. All the buttons are pretty big. Your climate controls on the bottom, pretty standard. You do have a quick access button on top in the middle. And then you have all these separate controls and settings. Everything else that you want to control about your Lightning is all within the menu. So it's nice and it's easy to understand too. Even though there's a ton of menus, everything's labeled well and it's just very easy to understand. So it's great. Other things, you get a 360 view around your Lightning. So you have cameras all over. That's great. You know, in terms of safety features, you get everything with this Lariat Lightning. You know, emergency braking, your blind spot, adaptive cruise control, driver alert. You have parking sensors everywhere. I mean, everything is included. This is a safe truck. So other features that you get, power adjusting pedals. That's great. Also 3 memory seats, power folding mirrors. You get wireless charger, home link buttons. In this one, you have a giant panoramic sunroof on top, right? I mentioned about, you know, the work table. That's really good too. You got a lot of USB ports. You have a lot of outlets inside. You have 2 glove boxes. Now, as for pricing, it really depends on which trim level and if you choose the extended battery pack. The Pro starts right under $40,000, which is pretty amazing. Then you go up to the XLT, depending on if you want an extended battery or not. It's either $52,000 or $72,000. Then you have $78,000 for the Lariat, which is the one I'm driving, with the extended range battery. Without it, it'll be about $62,000. And finally, you have the Platinum, which is the range topping around $91,000. So it really depends if you want that extra power, extra range, and which features you really need. So to conclude, as you can see, I'm blown away with this truck. I love everything about this truck. It has everything and doesn't have any glaring holes or weaknesses. Even me trying to think of things to nitpick on, I can't think of any. I think the only thing I could say is if you choose the F-150 with the extended range battery pack, it gets pricey, right? But again, if you compare this to others in its class, like the new Hummer that's coming out, the Rivians that's out, the Teslas that are out that have been increasing the price quite a bit. This is in line with those, and you could argue it's actually a little bit cheaper. All right, have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.